The latest Treehouse of Horror has just dropped, and you know what that means? Another blood-soaked kill count. And this year it's got it all. Giant battling monsters, vengeful ghosts, and even some killer alien genes.
I am Denim.
I'll be tallying up every single death scene, and stick around to the end because I'm going to be breaking down the total kill count for the entire series of The Simpsons so far. Now, let's get to the kills. So first up, and we get the special title sequence animated by Jorge R. Gutierrez, the creator of Nickelodeon's El Tigre, The Adventures of Manny Rivera, as well as the film The Book of Life. I absolutely love the style and the animation he brings here, and it's always so fun generally when guest animators get to put their own spin on Simpsons characters. Jorge is a huge Simpsons fan, and I actually found this tweet that he wrote back in 2022. It said, "What I would give to do a Simpsons opening." And showrunner Matt Selman replied with, "Let's do it." Moments like this are amazing. It's so cool when fans get to fulfill their dreams of working on the show that they love. So I actually reached out to Jorge with some questions, and surprisingly he replied. He said that this opening took 9 months to complete from idea to finish, and he described it as a dream come true. More specifically saying, "I discovered The Simpsons when I was a kid living in Tijuana, and it changed my life. The Simpsons was a window into a world I wanted to be a part of." So let's start counting some kills. So first up, Lisa rips off Snake's skin and Bart knocks the skeleton out of Krusty. And all of a sudden, Homer, Maggie, Smithers and Burns are all blown up, and finally we see that Itchy is wearing Scratchy's dismembered head. Saying this though, I wasn't entirely sure if I should even count these as kills, seeing as it already looks like that they're already dead. So I asked Jorge himself, and he said technically they're all dead, seeing as they're all in Mexican hell. So for that reason, I won't be adding them to the tally. Oh yeah, and you can't forget about the cameo from Kang and Kodos, keeping the tradition alive ever since the very first Treehouse of Horror. We then go into the title card. And for the 4th year in a row, thank you so much to Dead Meat James for not suing me and allowing me to rip you off. So the first segment is called The Information Rage, a parody of Pacific Rim. It opens with Quimby announcing that LED light bulbs will be provided for every household. But the townsfolk aren't happy about being told what light bulbs they can and can't use.
"You can have my incandescents when you unscrew them from my cold dead lamps."
This light bulb debate ignites a huge divide in town, and all of this divisiveness and rage causes a rift in the ocean. All of a sudden, from the chasm emerges a red right-winger monster that wreaks havoc on windmills, mail-in ballots, and the Centre for Disease Control. We even discover that Bart is on the right-wing side.
Wait, Bart, you're a right-winger?
Nah, mostly just anti-you.
But just when it seems that the right has the upper hand, the left-wing rage creates a blue monster who goes on to destroy plastic straws and a fracking company. But hey, at least he's responsible enough to recycle the damage he causes afterwards. There are some funny jokes here, like the blue monster having a liberal arts ray and snowflake breath, whereas the red monster has a book banning blast and can fire out Tim Allen DVDs. It's clear the writers were having fun making little jokes at both sides. Eventually, Frank steps in to declare that he's built a massive robot to take on the monsters, manned by a loving pair of siblings, but just like that, they get squashed by part of the Springfield sign. So, with the operators now killed, Bart and Lisa team up to control the robot instead. But they struggle to coordinate and accidentally crush Otto. As Bart and Lisa struggle to get on, even more monsters rise up. However, when Bart and Lisa share a laugh about Homer rolling down a hill in a giant donut, they soon realise that they can work together despite their differences.
If we can both laugh at a fat guy stuck in a donut, we can work together and kick some ass.
So the kids team up and take down the monsters, causing the rest to flee, while also delivering a very hopeful message about unity and encouraging everyone to reject the echo chambers of cable news and social media. But just when it seems that there's hope for togetherness after all, that optimism soon gets squashed in the very next scene, showing that only 3 news cycles later, the monsters are still battling it out. And although civilization was destroyed by the end, I'm only going to count the 3 kills that we saw on screen. Let's keep it simple here. Now, I know many people might dislike this segment because of its heavy political themes, but let's not forget that The Simpsons has been tackling political issues for years. I mean, one of the best Treehouse of Horror segments is Citizen Kang from Treehouse of Horror 7, which lampooned the 1996 election between Clinton and Dole.
Don't blame me, I voted for Kodos.
Go!
But with this newer one, I felt like I was forever reading the name of each and every building to determine that particular political standing before a thing got smashed up. The sight gags were a bit overkill here. As for me, I thought the segment generally was okay, because there were some decent jokes, but I feel you could have had a lot more fun with the robot and monster battles. Also, there's the fact that I just kind of feel a bit burnt out by the whole left versus right wing discussions. We've been absolutely bombarded with politics and divisiveness lately, and it's just too much. And even though this segment tackles that exact topic, I'm just totally burnt out on jokes about politics by this point in general. Again, I'm not against The Simpsons getting political, but this one, it just wasn't right for me. Now on to the next segment, entitled The Fool of the House of Monty, loosely inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's The Fool of the House of Usher. So we start off in an old-fashioned Springfield, and there's a very fun callback to Bart as the Raven from the very first Treehouse of Horror.
Quoth the Raven.
Nevermore.
From there, it's quitting time at Mr. Burns' corn syrup plant, but the alarm immediately signals again to start their next shift, working on Burns' mansion. It's also Thanksgiving, so Burns invites the workers for dinner, but when they arrive, he makes them a tempting offer.
If you win, this feast is yours. If I win, no weekends or holidays off ever again starting today.
Willie wins the wishbone challenge, but Burns, being Burns, goes back on his word and dumps the entire feast down a giant chasm. And Moe dives in after it.
That was worth it.
Thus giving us our first kill of this segment. After kicking everyone out, his ex-wife and former maid warns him that breaking a Thanksgiving wishbone promise will bring a curse upon him. It's been a recurring gag that Agnes and Burns have had a relationship in the past.
I got the combination from Burns after I let him feel me up during the Depression.
In fact, in this very season, they were shown as a couple in a flashback, which honestly makes me wonder, could Seymour Skinner actually be Mr. Burns' secret love child? But hey, that's a theory for a whole other video. Continuing on though, and a starving Homer heads back to the corn syrup factory only to fall straight into a boiling vat. As he scrambles to escape, he accidentally floods the whole factory, and I counted 9 people in total here. And now gruesome ghouls, they start to haunt Burnsy.
Jump scare! Jump scare!
Things escalate when Moe pushes Burns over the banister, crushing Agnes and bringing the kill count to 11. Burns tries to flee through his ever-changing mansion, eventually racing up a narrowing hallway, and is here where I think they could have added a nice callback to Hurricane Neddy.
Come on in! It's your master bedroom!
But then again, The Simpsons have been doing a lot of the same classic jokes lately, so maybe it's for the best that they didn't double down here. Burns keeps fleeing, only to stumble into a fantastic nod to one of my favourite ever Disney rides, the Haunted Mansion. I've ridden that thing like 10 times now. Eventually, the ghosts corner him and he tries to save himself by offering yet again another great feast, but they're more interested in feasting on him. So he coats himself in syrup and dives straight into the flames.
You can't torment me if I'm dead. Oh, I forgot about hell.
The segment wraps up as Smithers and Sideshow Mel finding of what's left of Mr. Burns and naming the tragedy as Black Friday. This is another segment that I thought was just kind of fine. The ghosts did have a really cool look, glowing green with visible skeletons underneath, which was a really nice touch. But aside from that, I feel like it's one of those forgettable segments, and I probably won't think about it too much after this. But thankfully, the final segment is the best. Titled Denim, it's a parody of Venom. Homer's on the hunt for a new pair of jeans. Meanwhile, a zipper from out of space opens up outside and a pair of jeans leap out. The jeans are on search for a host, and so chooses Homer.
I can see where my butt ends and my legs begin, instead of being one big blah.
Now empowered by his new jeans, Homer heads to the local diner to flirt with a waitress that he fancies. But when Snake bursts in to rob the place, the jeans spring into action, taking Snake down with absolute ease. Homer quickly bolts and takes off running throughout town. I absolutely love how they blended the animation with a stop motion for his pants. It looks incredible. That's because Denim was brought to life by Stupid Buddy Studios, the stop motion geniuses behind Robot Chicken, and some very iconic couch gags. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen stop motion and 2D animation mixed quite like this before. So cool. So the Genes start talking to Homer, explaining that their home planet was destroyed by acid rain.
To survive on your planet, our species requires a human host, and my host is you.
So now bonded to Homer, the Genes help Homer by impressing Marge by busting out some really sick dance moves, which charms her so much that she takes him home. But as things start heating up, the Genes refuse to come off.
I cannot be disengaged from my host for long or I'll perish.
So instead, they offer Homer some over-the-pants friction action.
That was the most amazing outer course of my life.
2 months pass and Homer still hasn't taken off the Genes. And in an attempt to loosen them up, he pours beer down Denim's mouth to get it drunk. And while the Genes are passed out, Marge sneaks them off and replaces them with a beige pair of chinos. But Denim isn't happy about being tossed into the washing machine and vows to get revenge.
Homer is my host, not yours, and you're about to die.
Homer tries to stop Denim with a squeeze of lemon juice.
Acid! So painfully 80s.
And when that fails, Homer even stabs himself, causing the Genes to then switch hosts to then chase after Marge.
So hairy, like being on a sweaty cactus.
Homer catches up with them, and in a very dramatic twist, he chooses Denim over Marge.
Deep down, I knew it all along.
Really?
And the segment ends with Denim ominously announcing that his species is now set to invade Earth. I was fascinated to know how long this took to create, so I reached out to the creator of this segment, John Harvardine, who is the co-founder of Stupid Buddy Studios, and he's a super nice guy. He said the stop motion process took about 6 months to do. It was a few months of building the 40-something puppets, large scale and lots of little scale puppets, and about 3 months of shooting them. We usually only had one animator at a time, so it was a slow process. We started the post process as soon as we got the frames in, and that also took about 4 months. And on the subject of blending the 2D animation with the stop motion, he said, and I quote, "First we got the footage from The Simpsons and put it on our stages, and we animated over it frame by frame, matching it as close as possible. Then in post we blended it even further. It was a real team effort from our puppet team to find the right kind of fabric to use, our lighting team to match the 2D frames, our animators to bring them to life, and our post team to stitch it all together." This was hands down the best segment of the episode, with Information Rage coming in second and Fall of the House of Monty in third. Overall, I'd say this year's Treehouse of Horror was just okay, with the first 2 segments here being not particularly memorable. Saying that though, Denim was a really good standout and honestly a segment that I would return to in the future. Happily, it was so good. Also, that intro was absolutely amazing. So creative, so colourful, and so exciting. Alright, so let's tally up the kills. So there were 3 kills in the first segment, 12 in the second, therefore bringing this year's total to 15 kills. I'm going to award the inanimate carbon rod for best kill to Marge using Lisa to rip open the skin of Snake. And yes, I am aware that is technically cheating, seeing as I didn't count this as a kill, but oh well, even if they are in hell, it was still a very, very good overkill. And the rusty, jagged metal crustio for the worst kill goes to Burns falling on Agnes. Sorry, Agnes. And finally, the total death tally for every Treehouse of Horror so far comes to 5,150. Now, next year, I'm planning to release my biggest video yet, which is a total recount of the Treehouse of Horror kill counts. So what did you think of this year's Treehouse of Horror? Let me know in the comments below. Also, thank you to my amazing Patreon supporters for making this video possible. You guys are all awesome. And with that, I'll smell you later.